And let's maybe ask Hans and Séverine to now report on the other session on social science, transdisciplinarity, and traditional knowledge systems.
Okay, welcome.
Oh. Great.
So what's clear to me, we have to improvise a bit because we had long, fruitful discussions, but didn't get to a structured reporting like they did. Sorry. And what I learned is that indeed social scientists talk a lot, and they give and they interview. So my interview to you question is, how do you feel?
I feel good, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Hans. No, it was really a really nice session, but I think the main we all agree that we should show a bit more what the social science research can really give in quality and also in quantity to the One Health movement. And for that, we were thinking that we should develop a social science platform. Concretely, because because even from the tropics, I think we can train and start to also impulse this approach among other social scientists. And so our first action will be to fill in a SWOT table in order to see all the well, that's more concrete. So that's no. And the other point is.
What's a SWOT?
Yeah, that's Delphi method.
What I also find striking in the discussion that somebody mentioned the Trojan horse approach. Can you explain this?
Yeah. Yeah, indeed, it's difficult when you are collaborating with other disciplines. As a social scientist, you need to find strategy to really make your point and also to be able to do your work. And for example, I feel like I was a spy for 7 years to be among vets and then with medical doctors. And it's a big struggle, so I had to compromise and give away a lot of my really fundamental methodological background. But I think it's worth it, and I think we should all do the same.
I also heard there was some philosophy in the discussion. Can you explain a little bit about the role of philosophy in that discussion?
Oh, the complexity. Yes.
Anyway, it was very interesting. What also was striking for me was that Melissa, she was maybe an exception, but I liked it, that she didn't use a PowerPoint, but she read from paper, and she got everybody's attention. Maybe that's also good to mention. And for the rest, we will get back to you.
Different methods being used. It sounds like it was a very interesting session with a lot of discussion. And complexity certainly permeates a lot of the work that we do on One Health. So we've already got a question.
I just want to add a small short remark from being part of that group. I think those guys already mentioned the questions about philosophy, and were like more. Just amused about that, but it was really serious stuff which we didn't manage to quite resolve yet. But the question actually was really a practical thing and important also in relation to what you evidently discussed in your group regarding the balance between rigidity and flexibility in approaches. So it was largely about, well, what kind of take you would have on the need for standards and sort of formal evidence as opposed to open processes.
Thank you.
There is another question, and maybe just to complete. I've noticed that the session was meant to be on social science, transdisciplinarity, and traditional knowledge systems. So what of the traditional knowledge systems? Because I didn't hear anything yet. Have you had time to discuss? Have you had time to discuss this?
In fact, it's the traditional knowledge systems was coming from Hans, and he's from the environmental field. And in fact, in my work regarding zoonotic disease, this concept is not used as such. We use more the culture concept. And so, yeah, but and we didn't go into the debate about what is culture, what is traditional knowledge, etc. But that's what we switched, and it was more culture diversity approach than traditional knowledge.
And Hans, would you like to complete maybe with a few
What's
notes?
actually funny is that I used the traditional science, the traditional paradigm, but I used it differently than you mean it and you ask.
Yeah.
So I was not talking about indigenous knowledge, but traditional, reductionistic, positivistic science. But in a sense, this is a sign that we need more dialogue even between our social scientific community. So.
Perfect. So there was a question?
No, it was a remark to go in the sense of Hans, is that one of the reasons I came from Asia to this workshop is because there was so many social scientists working in one else, and it is so unusual. And I think we really need to have like a task force or something, and to be a bit more structured in our exchange. Also to take leadership on the editorial publication process, because we are not visible, and it will not, I think, treat the interdisciplinarity, even if there is a core of social scientists managing and taking leadership on publication. And it is now time to do that, I think. It is enough to be also, I mean, everybody says we need anthropologists in one else, okay, but no, we need also, as a social scientist, to be more proactive and to go ahead, I think.
Excellent point. Are there any other questions or comments, suggestions from the floor? Maybe people from other groups that there should be a lot more interest in this in integrating the social sciences.
We have to digest it, I think.
Yes. Great.
I actually think it's also a call to veterinarians who are in editorial boards of any kind of professional journal or specific journal to actually try and find social scientists that would be willing to contribute to their editorial board. Because, I mean, you can, you know, as an outsider, it's easy to say, you know, we should engage more, but if you're not invited, you're not going to be able to get in. So I think it's you know, it's a bilateral engagement that we need to find, or basically an interdisciplinary contract that veterinarians invite social scientists of various disciplines into their editorial boards in order to assess what they traditionally do from a different point of view.
Excellent point. Thank you so much, Simon. And in the interest of time,